TG top 8.
Saffron Olive also has a stream where he does every week. He does a budget deck that's under $100 for Modern. You guys can check that out for MTG Goldfish. Pretty sick. Good.
So here we are in the round. Anthony's on the left. He's on Dredge. We got Marc Aguilera on the right with U-White Spirits.
Guys, also, Ben brings up a good point here. Merfolk is great for Cess. Yeah, also because it's not Tier 1 anymore. It's very affordable, and it's a very, very good linear aggro deck that can overwhelm the field very quick and has super powerful cards. The only thing, Ben, is that Merfolk does run Aether Vials, and those are a little bit expensive. I'm sure there's probably lists that you can get without Aether Vials, though.
So, in this matchup, the onus is really on Mark, I think, to have interaction early, or Anthony is just going to run away with this game if he has a good enough hand, and that's a very good start from him. Turn 2 Cathartic Reunion is going to let him discard, hopefully, 2 Dredgers, which he did, and 2 Stinkweed Imps, and then he's going to dredge them both back and just start going off immediately. This Dredge deck, I used to play a lot of Dredge. He's actually just going off right now. He's got a Narcomoeba, and that's going to come back. If he can find a prized amalgam, he is going to be set.
Also, guys, just so you guys know, if you're not local, this Anthony Shaw is the guy who I was talking about earlier. That's our local player that usually plays Burn, and he's a very good Burn player as well. That was who I was talking about earlier.
Hey, Brad, I really like that suggestion. I want a punt counter on screen. Oh, and he did find a prized amalgam. I didn't see that. So, yeah, Anthony already has put 2 creatures and 4 power in play. It's not the most explosive turn 2, but he's really set up here to go nuts on turn 3 if he can find something good off of this Life from the Loam Dredge.
By the way, super happy we ended up getting a Spirits deck on camera for the night. I know we were talking about that earlier in chat. Also, though, I don't think that the matchup's probably terrible for Spirits. I would imagine.
That's what I'm saying.
The Dredge matchup's probably horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I mean, everybody's expecting the Dredge to be being popular right now, so people are probably bringing hate in the sideboards here.
Yeah, game 1, I feel like Spirits is a dog, but he's going to get to bring in probably some Rest in Pieces and whatnot.
Yeah. So also notable, Narcomoeba just got a reprint as well. It's been you guys might see. I don't think anybody's really brewing anything in Standard right now with it, but that is.
And Brad in the chat, you are correct. Mark is Esper, not Blue White. Anthony really is enjoying that swivel chair. We all know how Anthony likes to do his thing. So that's a Dredge Dark Blast there. That's going to be very bad for Mark.
Yeah, explain what that does.
So, it's a 1 black spell that gives target creature -1/-1, which doesn't seem very good, but it also has Dredge 3. So not only is it going to let him dredge every turn, but he's going to get to kill a creature every single turn as well. Because all of the creatures in Mark's deck, for the most part, save a few, are going to have 1 toughness. And that's really going to be hard for him.
Yep, actually also been, for any of you Legacy players out there that's watching right now, I've been seeing people do a 1-of in the board for Death Shadow with that as well in Legacy. Pretty good against Death and Taxes, just easy way to have recurring card advantage and removal against them. But yeah, so we're seeing that right now, obviously Modern doing pretty well as well.
So he's leaving up 3 mana here. This is an obvious Spell Queller.
Yeah, can we get Spell Queller up on board? That's in my opinion, other than obviously the Lords, it's probably my favorite card in Spirits and probably the most powerful card in Spirits. What you guys are going to notice about this card is that it doesn't actually counter a card, it exiles it. So cards that read cannot be countered or uncounterable effects, this will still be able to stop. Most notably, if you were in a blue-white control deck playing Supreme Verdict, this Spell Queller can stop that.
Correct. And this hasn't been, honestly, a very impressive draw at all from Dredge. He has only gotten 5 power in play, and that was his, I believe that was his 4th turn.
Yeah, is he missing, is he missing anything in particular in the, is he missing any
his Dredges just haven't been very impressive. He has only found 2 Narcomoebas and a prized amalgam to come back. The rest of his Dredge hasn't been very impressive. He really needs to find something good here, or Mark might be able to start turning the corner if he has some interaction.
The TNT Worst NA says, real question is, when will Spirits get a neck? Blue, white, control, playing boy. Spirits rely on neck sacrifices because that's bad news for Mark.
Ooh, that's an instant speed Drog Skull. No, wait a minute. Why is he doing that? He can't do that.
Drog Skull, Captain.
That's the one he's looking for.
Yeah, can't be flashed until that's out. So he did just flash into Rattle Chains. This now is going to allow him to be able to flash in his other spirits now. One of the texts on Rattle Chains is that his spirits all have flash. I think Andrew's bringing up that right now. So Rattle Chains here, the main text on this, obviously it had flash, gives his other spirits flash, and then when it enters the battlefield, it gives a spirit hexproof. This is really good, like for target removal. If somebody wants to path exile one of your spirits, especially most notably Spell Queller here, because they don't want to because they want to get their card back. You could Rattle Chains this in to protect it.
Right, and it also gives your other spirits flash, so it just lets you play completely instant speed.
Yep.
Mark here is putting up, and Anthony has 3 Narcomoebas, but Mark here has, kind of turned the corner. Anthony's missed some land drops. His dredges have been pretty lackluster. So if Mark can start putting on more pressure, he might be able to steal this game 1.
Yeah, I'd like to see some more pressure coming from Mark. I mean, Anthony
He's
being
just
at
gonna
20
pass
life
the turn
is,
here.
Pretty soon here we're going to start to see Anthony with, half
he
of his deck in
chooses
the
to
graveyard.
draw. That's interesting. He just wanted to discard. Okay. Yeah, he is giving Mark here quite a bit of time. So I want to see what Mark here can do. If he can play something else at unstep, he's just going to make a 1-1, though. So they're both kind of just doing their own thing. I'm wondering why he hasn't played this Drog Skull Captain, though, that we know is in his hand.
I think that maybe he's hoping that they spot removal target the Rattle Chains, and then he just flashes it in, maybe, to give something else.
Well, I already see at least one Conflagrate in his graveyard, so I don't know what he's really playing around there. I really just want to see Mark do what he did there a turn earlier and start going for more damage. This is a very big dredge here. He needs to. Yeah, this is just not going well for him. He needs to start finding his prized amalgams. And he needs another land. He needs to get these blood gas back. So he needs to get a life from the loam back from his graveyard at some point.
So now, I mean, if Anthony can't get go off right now, obviously Mark's going to probably actually want to start putting a little pressure in. The Narcomoebas are great. Chump blockers, though, as well. So remember, one of the best things about Spirits is that they do have flyers.
Right.
It's really important, especially in creature matchups for Spirits, to be able to fly over their opponents. But Anthony having these Narcomoebas, it's pretty good for him. I mean, he could just continue to chump block.
All of his spirits are 2/2s, though. So I think Anthony last turn, when he discarded and he drew instead of dredging, I think he should have just dredged a life from the loam. He has a couple of blood gas that are just sitting in his graveyard. So here, this is going to be pretty good for him. Ooh.
Oh, this is a...
that's a spicy one we don't see much of. Is that a delay? Yeah, that's a delay. Can we get delay on the screen? That's one you don't see much of.
So if I remember correctly, delay is a card. Here we go. So it counters a spell. If the counter spell is removed, it's removed from the game with 3 time counters on it. So essentially, he counters it 3 turns later, then Anthony will be able to recast it. This is awesome against like instant speed instances because especially like
it's kind of
other counter spells, stuff like that. Because maybe later on when they get to cast it again, they won't have a target available.
It plays kind of like how Remand you were talking about earlier in these tempo matchups, where they just really want to keep going through their deck and buy a little bit of time. It plays similar to that in that it's countering a spell for 2 temporarily, but it's bringing it back a few turns later.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
So Anthony's dredges are still...
Talk about these conflagrates a bit. What is he going to be able to do with these conflagrates? Does he have any game on this conflagrate at all, or is he just still far off from being able to combo with that?
I really don't think he's going to be able to combo with it here. I wouldn't be surprised if Mark has another piece of interaction in his hand. He has really not been playing many spells this game.
Guys, again, this is game 1. Actually, pretty interesting. We were talking at first saying that we thought that Spirit's going to have a bad matchup against Dredge. So far, it looks like actually Mark has the advantage right now.
Yeah, Anthony, like I've been talking about the whole game, he's just not been playing. He's been playing decently, but his dredges just not have been what he needed them to be. He's got some blood gas that are stuck in the yard. He's going to go out and play this conflagrate here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Can we get Conflagrate also up on the board? Also, just want to do a quick shout out to Andrew and Dan here. Both these guys are working the tech for us. Again, this is our first week doing commentary and stream, but these guys have pretty much helped out to get this whole thing set up for us. Especially Andrew's, all the equipment and stuff that we're using is Andrew's as well. We'll try and do a good little shout out for him at the end of this as well. So here's
look at these spirit tokens. This guy's a hero. No next guy a hero here.
Conflagrate's got the flashback, guys. That's obviously flashback's a mechanic that you can play the card from your graveyard and then just exile it afterwards. So
do we have a misplay here? Is Queller supposed to die?
I missed. We can stop
hey,
it.
Hey, Dan, can you go take care of that? Queller's supposed to dead.
Okay.
Go quickly, please. Thank you, chat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, chat. Something happens sometimes, and anytime you guys see something like that, just let us know right away. We'll stop the game. We appreciate that.
This is why we have the stream, and so that Anthony keeps his triggers correct. Dan is sexist man at GameStorm. Can we get that guy out of here?
Oh, guys, they're saying that because it was pumped at the time, it didn't.
Anthony's about losing his mind. He has now realized.
What's going on? What's going on, Tom? Dan, can you get over there just to see what's going on?
So Mark has walked out of the room. Yeah.
You want to just go rewind him a turn? Like, just try and pull him back as much as you can? I'll figure it. We're going to rewind you guys a turn. This is
so Anthony's telling us what's going to happen.
Dan, one of our tech dudes here. We're going to go over there and try and rewind him a quick turn, see if he could manage this mess. What's going on in chat? You guys, so far, how's
counters up to 5, by the way.
How's everybody feeling about our first commentary week here? If you guys give us any constructive feedback, anything that you guys noticed that you liked or want us to improve on for next week, feel free to go ahead and let us know right now. Yeah, so they're just rewinding this game. We can kind of hear them. We know that you guys can't hear their what's going on, but basically they're just trying to rewind back to the spell queller dying. So I think what they were saying is that when Drogskull Captain died, it still had the damage done to it. So the spell queller would have died probably at the end of turn, I imagine, is what they're saying. And we got Sir Tailweaver loving the card descriptions. Yeah, that's that's what we're trying. We're definitely going to keep that up. So we like being able to pull these up on screen for you guys too. So they're rewinding it now. They said that they should be able to manage it no problem. We're going to keep this game 1 going. Like I said, this is only game 1, and I'm definitely surprised that we have a grindy game 1 between these two decks because I was definitely imagining Dredge just dominating game 1, but they're not.
Where there's an Anthony, there's a way.
Yeah, so, Jellybean, it would definitely die. Also, if you guys, anybody that's not familiar with the shop here, if you're in the Chicagoland area, we are in Lamont, Illinois, and just come out here. We have John John is the owner of the shop. He usually runs.
So there you go. Mark's going to pick up game 1.
Yeah, John usually runs one big, large tournament a month, and then he has the normal schedule up on the Facebook for what we do. We have really good turnouts for Modern, and I'm assuming that Standard's going to be hot coming up soon too. So, any of you guys in chat playing Standard? If you are, let us know what you guys are playing. I'm interested. Tom took off for a couple minutes. So, he missed the blood gas triggers. Yeah, guys, Anthony, like I said, he's our local burn player, and so this week he's playing Dredge. I imagine he's just trying to get in while it's hot, probably getting a little bit of testing going for it. And Mark conceded game 1. Okay, guys, so Mark conceded game 1 because of his misplay there, I guess. So he missed the trigger on purpose so he could bring the creatures back to his opponents. Yeah. Burn the Dredge paper format. Well, yeah, go Lucky. He's, like I said, Anthony is a pretty good tournament player overall, and I think that he's probably just kind of testing this out on a Friday Night Magic, or on a this in Sunday night or whatever. But I'm sure he probably is going to continue to play Burn in the big tournaments. Dredge doesn't play itself like Burn makes sense. There are actually some just yeah. Hey, Burn still requires some good decision making. So Also, kind of complicated question about Magic in general. What's the purpose of playing 1 or 3 copies of card? Okay, so actually, this is a phenomenal question, guys. If you look at what Sir Tailweaver asked, he's saying, why is it important to play either 1 or 3 copies or 2 or 4? Right now, actually, like I mentioned, the deck that I play the most right now is Humans. And what's good about Humans is that it's a deck that is kind of stabilizing the format or attempting to. It's a very fair deck. And one of the cards it runs is Meddling Mage. Meddling Mage stops you from being able to play a card. So since Humans has gotten hot again over the last year, we've been seeing people diversify their threats and also their removal in their decks to not get Meddling Maged. Also, you don't always want to play 4 of a card anyways, because there's cards like Surgical Extraction that can target your graveyard and then remove all of your card out of your deck. And in general, sometimes you might have a extra slot or 2 in your deck that you just throw a 1 of in. And also, don't forget the most important of all is that if you have a legendary creature, legendary creatures can only be 1 on the battlefield. And you're not going to usually want to run too many of those in your deck.
Yeah, and I got something to add to that, too.
Yeah.
As far as this question is concerned, Sir Tailweaver, there's a big part of it that is math. And, sometimes you want 1 copy of a card because you want to see it a lot less of the time, but you still want it.
Perfect
or
example
you
is
play
Grape
3
Shot.
copies of, exactly.
Perfect example of Grape Shot.
Like, I play 3 copies of a card instead of 4 because I want to either make room for a flex slot for card A, or I don't want to see this card every single game, but I want to see it most games. So a lot of it does come down to math.
Yeah, and then
so we're gonna look at boards here.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Hopefully we answered your question, Sir Tailweaver.
Yeah, so we got Dredge here, 2 Abrupt Decay, 3 Damping Sphere, 4 Nature's Claim, 3 Lava Axe, 2 Thoughtseize, and 1 Ancient Grudge. Pretty straightforward here.
Yep. Yeah, I like the Abrupt Decays because the Abrupt Decays are going to be uncounterable to hit the spell quellers. So if he gets and just in general to hit any of the targets, I also like the Lava Axes. Lava Axes are good removal creature, spot removal creature spot removal. I don't think he really needs to worry too much about like Thoughtseize. The threats are all the threats in Spirits are all small costed threats that are all going to be like good. So Thoughtseize just like whatever here.
I agree. Probably just the Abrupt Decays and Lava Axes, I agree.
Yeah.
So here on Spirits, we got 2 Ceremonious Rejection, 2 Kataki's War Rage, 2 Pithing Needle, 2 Blessed Alliance, 2 Remorseful Cleric, 2 Unified Will, 1 Rest in Peace, 1 Eidolon Rhetoric, and 1 Nebelgas Herald. There's some that stand out really hard to me here.
Yep.
Remorseful Cleric and Rest in Peace.
Yeah, so Rest in Peace. We talked about this actually when the stream started. We knew that that Dredge is obviously getting hot, and we were talking about it. I said, I think somebody asked the question. I said, if you're playing Dredge, it's a very powerful deck, but it has very specific hate against it that if it gets played, it's really hard to come back from.
Yeah, real quick correction here, Sir Tailweaver. He had written down Lava Axe. It's Lightning Axe, I'm sure. The discard deal 5.
Yeah. Okay, I was thinking that as well. Yeah, Lightning Axe. I apologize.
Yeah.
So in the Spirit sideboard here, I like the Rest in Peace. I also like the Blessed Alliance, kind of. I mean, just maybe a little bit more grindy card, but it's going to be able to remove a creature. Maybe, I don't know. What do you think about that? Getting more? Maybe not. It's probably too slow.
I really just want to see the graveyard interaction. I want to see Remorseful Clerics. They sacrifice to get rid of the graveyard on a 2/1 flyer and the Rest in Peace. That's probably it. But here we are. We're going to see Anthony on the play looking at a 0-land hand.
Yeah, Sir Tailweaver, for sure.
And we kept this.
Yeah,
he's not a mold of 6, it would seem, so he can't go to 5.
We did a correction for that being Lightning Axe, not Lava Axe. Sorry.
Yeah. That's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
So here we go. Oh, and he shows him his hand. We all love Anthony up here. Huh?
What's that? Oh, gotcha. Yeah, Marc is a Chicago grinder here. See him at a lot of different events. He travels. He plays up here a lot. Anthony definitely is mainly up here. So
Anthony's everywhere.
Yeah, he does travel around. The Esper Spirits deck though is super sweet.
Anthony's anywhere he can catch a ride to.
All right, what are we looking for here from Mark? What is he looking to have early on?
He's looking for, I would say, a turn 1 drop, a turn 2 Remorseful Cleric, and a turn 3 Spell Queller. Either a Spell Queller
Rest in Peace as well.
No, maybe a Rest in Peace. You already have the Remorseful Cleric. I want to see him put a lot of pressure on those, so maybe a Lord.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to see like a Supreme Phantom or a Drog Skull Captain on 3 after we play a 1 piece of Graveyard Hate.
And for Anthony, what are we thinking here?
We need a turn 1 discard. Yeah, Anthony's not looking too good in this one. He has no land. Yeah, we got our no-neck friend here looking up at the camera because he realizes just how screwed Anthony is.
All right, so
we'll see, though. Anthony could dredge 5 here, find 2 Narcomoebas and 2, what you call that card? Prized Amalgams.
Yeah, Prized Amalgams, yeah.
So, you never know with this dredge deck. See, he found 1 Narcomoeba and nothing else. So, this game's about over. Oh, and he's going to Lightning Axe him, too. So, that's the thing. Or not Lightning Axe, Creeping Chill. So we do have a 1/1 flyer.
Guys, just so you guys know, earlier we talked about that Creeping Chill card. That's one of the new Guilds of Ravnica cards as well. Steals 3 life from your opponent, and then you gain 3 life. This Andrew brought it up on the screen for us. Thank you so much. Yeah, card's sweet.
Here we go.
If you're comboing off with this card's just nuts.
And 4 lands. So we've got 2 1/1s in play now, making moves.
Yeah, I think that these Necromoebas are actually fine right now because, like, obviously Anthony has nothing going on land-wise. Obviously not a good decision on his part, but it can block this. Yeah,
the blocking, I'm not really. It's going to come down to if Mark has a Lord, this game's over.
Yeah, the White Spirit here, this sacked indestructible one. What's the name of it again?
The one he has in place, Selfless Spirit.
Yeah, Selfless Spirit. The Selfless Spirit's a 2/1, so the Narcomoeba can block it without a problem.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying he needs a Lord.
Mm-hmm.
What card from Guild of Ravnica has had the most impact on Modern? Yes, it has been Assassin's Trophy. I got game 1. Well, right, nothing short of a showman, that's for sure.
Check out chat here. It says, this is the most Anthony thing I've ever seen. I got a free win, game 1. And then we say, what card from Guild of Ravnica has the most impact on Modern? So, yeah, you want to... So the ones I think are Assassin's Trophy, and then we also saw the Night of Autumn as well. Night of Autumn is being going to be, I think, a staple
Anthony
for the sideboard for humans.
He is the worst dredger I've ever seen. He is the worst at dredging Magic cards. His dredges have just been the worst.
I think he's good to put to stream if you're looking to stream serious Magic. Evil Juggernaut, we're giving everybody a little bit of love here. So, Anthony's one of our local guys. He's definitely going to give Anthony a little bit of love. So.
And these are the 2 Exos.
Yeah. These are 2 Exos. Like I said, a lot of people.
Graveyard, look at his graveyard, though. Speaking of the game state, his graveyard has absolutely nothing but 2 Stinkweed Imps. He has found 2 Narcomoebas. His dredges these 2 games have just been abysmal. I feel for the guy. I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said...
And here comes Mark on the attack. See, like I said, he needed to find a Drog Skull Captain to really start putting on some pressure here. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to be seeing a Game 3 very soon. So there's a couple of prized amalgams. So I really don't know why we're still playing. Anthony wants his screen time. Just kind of a formality at this point, I would say.
Also, if you guys, just a quick mention here, if you guys look at the mana base of this Spirits, again, earlier I was talking about how Spirits plays somewhat similar to humans. Also, it has some of the some similar lands as well. It's Cavern of Souls there, Seachrome Coast. Obviously, doesn't run all the tribal lands like humans does.
All right, and there we go. We're going to Game 3.
Cool. Go to Game 3. Perfect.
Yeah, when you keep a 0-lander, that's what happens. You don't play Magic. Yeah. I mean, Dredge isn't really playing Magic to begin with. That's not what Richard Garfield really had envisioned when he gave us Squire. in Birds of Paradise.
But yeah, I think Anthony being XO right now obviously shows this, the strength of Dredge in modern format right now as well. So like
I really
coming
want to see
coming into this week, people are saying Dredge is going to have a big showing, and sure enough, one of the people playing Dredge here tonight is already XO going into the last round. So I mean,
right.
Yeah.
I really want to see in Game 3, we need to see him dredge a lot faster, dredge the important cards. He keeps, in the first 2 games, his dredges were just unlucky early, and he just didn't get going. Game 2 really couldn't do much about that. Keeping a 0-lander on 6, that's pretty much the most Anthony thing he can do. But
we have a question in chat, too. Do you always bolt the bird?
Yes.
I would say it's situational. It depends on what you're playing, but I do know that, like, as a humans player, if I'm playing a turn 1 Noble Hierarch and somebody bolts it puts you back. Like, a lot of times you'll keep risky hands with just a land and a Noble Hierarch, and if they bolt it, you're like, all right, I'm done. Or they might, you might be banking on trying to put pressure on an opponent with a turn 2 Manus Rider, and they bolt your bird and they just put you back. Also, remember, Manus Rider, Noble Hierarch, at least as a humans player, it provides us with the blue to cast Phantasmal Image, so that takes us off too. Not every deck, though, I would say you don't always want to bolt the bird. It depends how much removal you have in your deck, and also what kind of threats you're playing against. If you're playing against collected combo, maybe you hold it if you're waiting to if you don't have a lot of removal and you're afraid of them hitting their going off on their combo.
Add Tom Kenshin. Our eyes can only see in 30 FPS. Well, I'm sorry, your eyes are like garbage, I guess.
All right, guys, going into this is going to be the final game
of
our last
30
round
frames
of the night
per
here.
second, buddy.
Both these guys
Go
are
away. Okay, continue.
Sorry. Both these guys are 3-0. This is our last round of the night, too. So, no, yeah, that's actually a good point about Path. The difference between Bolt and Path, when I used to play blue-white all the time, you have to be very careful about what you path early on because you're
There's that
your
card
opponent.
I was talking about, Remorseful Cleric. This is one of the most important cards in the matchup. Oh, and there's another one. Anthony answers right back with another one of the most important cards in the matchup. Thank you for bringing that up. So it seems simple, but all Great Dredge does is play out of its yard. So when they can exile cards, that's really where they want to be. And here's why I was talking about Dark Blast is one of the most important cards in the matchup. It's fueling his graveyard engine, and it's controlling the board. So there's really not a lot that Marc can do at this point until he gets down a Lord.
Also, Pepamako, I disagree with you about always pathing the
Yeah, that is incorrect.
Yeah. I think that pathing Llanowar, unless you're just trolling us.
No, I mean, his name is Pepe.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Yeah. Oh, it's Nick.
Oh, it's Nick.
That's one of our local guys.
What's good, Nick?
Yeah, Nick's an Elves player, so of course he wants you to path the Llanowar Elf. And just for anybody that's watching that's confused why I say not to path Llanowar Elf is because you're essentially just wasting your path because you're just going to give them an extra land and they don't really care if you path it. And you definitely want to save your paths against Elves, against some of their much stronger
You're literally turning
creatures.
the 1/1 into a forest.
Yeah. All right, so what's going on here, Tom?
So, again, Anthony is just not doing anything,
Yeah.
His dredges have been very bad. He has dredged nothing good. Marc seems to be kind of stuck on lands, though, so we'll see. Yeah, he's just making a Moorland Haunt token at the end of his turn.
Yeah.
Which is going to get Dark Blasted. He's going to untap, though, so we'll see.
Moorland Haunt is a sweet card. It basically takes a card out of your graveyard.
A creature card.
Is it any graveyard or just
yours? You may exile a creature card from your grave. Exile a creature card. You make a 1/1 token.
Yeah, it's a sweet card.
Yeah, very good card in these spirit decks. It's just constantly turning those dead creatures into more spirit tokens with flying. Here's a Selfless Spirit from Marc.
Let's talk about. There's the rest in peace.
There we go.
Huge card right here.
That's very bad for Anthony. If he doesn't have a Nature's Claim, he is going to lose this game.
Well, Anthony's tapping already. Let's talk really quick about Selfless Spirit. I just want to mention this because we've seen it on camera now about 10 times and haven't really discussed it. This card is a spirit that allows you to sacrifice it and make all your creatures indestructible. This card is really cool. I don't think it's like super overpowered, but a lot of times if you have a full board, it's basically like a counter. It's like sacrifice, counterspell, a sweeper, which is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it's very good in these decks, and it's good against Anger of the Gods. It's especially good in these Spirit decks because it's a Spirit itself.
Yeah.
In the chat, do you think Wizards should reprint Swords to Plowshares? Absolutely not, because
No, yeah, it's too strong.
Coupled with Path, white control would be out of control. Literally,
Yeah.
no pun intended.
Yeah, Swords of Plowshares is just basic. So we already have Path, but Path is a super strong card, and people aren't really afraid to use it and so just imagine Swords of Plowshare being just a better version of Path.
Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a Lightning Axe. He has really flooded out this game. You can see here he's discarding a card, and he's still discarding a land, and he has another land in hand. So he's been on at least 6 lands this game, which is very bad for the Dredge deck. I mean, yeah.
How do you feel about Marc now just playing a single creature passing here?
Just a Mausoleum Wanderer?
Yeah.
You really can't judge anything until we go to Anthony's end step, because 90% of Mark's creatures are going to have Flash. Well, not 90%. There could be a Rattle Chains. I forgot about that. But he might have something with Flash. So it either represents that he, like I said, has some with Flash, or just has nothing right now. Having said that, I still think Mark's probably favored. Anthony has no Dredgers in the graveyard. He only has a couple of cards in hand. If Anthony doesn't have something good here, which he does, he has a Life from the Loam. That's very good here because he can restart his Dredge engine. Mark is really going to need to find like a Spell Queller here, which he exactly has. So yeah, he needed to find that Spell Queller there. If Anthony resolves that Life from the Loam, he's going to get some lands back, but more importantly, he's going to start dredging again next turn.
Okay.
So that's really, just not good. I forgot what I was going to say.
So go, if you can, just for a quick second, go over what this, for people in chat that aren't super familiar with Dredge, just kind of go over like the mechanic and what else the deck tries to do as well.
Okay, so in every format, this deck is vastly different because each format has different cards that are legal and not, that are super relevant for this deck. So the basic engine of the deck is Dredge. What you're doing is you're self-milling to put these different weird cards in your graveyard, like Bloodghast, like Prized Amalgam, like Narcomoeba.
For those of you guys who don't know what self-milling is, that's going to be instead of drawing, you're going to be removing the cards from the top of your library and putting them in your graveyard.
Right. That's what Dredge does. It replaces your draw step with that mechanic. So you're trying to get all these weirdo cards into your graveyard so that you can get the benefits off them, like Prized Amalgam comes back, 3 Prized Amalgams and a Narcomoeba, and you just have these big explosive turns. And that's why I've been kind of ragging these 3 games on Anthony's Dredges, because this deck really relies on coming out of the gates turn 1, 2, and 3, and really just getting a ton of power and toughness into play early.
How are we feeling about this creeping chill so far? It has seemed very underwhelming overall.
I was gonna say, when they printed that card, I could tell what they were trying to do. I am not impressed with it. It's just not good enough when you need such a density of dredgers. You can see he's really struggling to get going here, and he gained 3 and dealt 3. Like, who cares?
Right. I agree. It's kind of just like a.
It's honestly probably better in like the Legacy version, because in
okay.
Legacy you also have Golgari Grave Troll, so you can play these. You get Dredge 6, and you don't have to play these worse Dredge cards. So that's one big thing. I can answer that
Sir
one.
Tailweaver, actually, from what I'm aware of, John will let you rent almost anything that you want to put together. He has a couple stock decks already done, but go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I can just list off the decks he already has built
for Modern.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has KCI Elves, Burn, and there's one more deck, but it's another aggro deck, I believe.
But yeah, and guys, I do know for sure anybody that is interested in coming up and playing, John will. He'll probably work with you to be able to put together a deck for you to rent without a problem as well.
The old hardcast Stinkweed Imp.
One of my favorite things about this store, I played at pretty much every store in Chicagoland area. One of the best things about this store in general is that he has a huge backstock available of cards, and he can set you up to if you're looking to purchase cards or just in general like to rent something for the night, like he has the capability here to do that a lot of other stores don't.
So you're going to see Aether Vial tick up to 1 here, and he's just going to pass the turn. So Anthony is clawing his way back into this game because Marc has just not done anything. You know, I was saying there was a couple of turns there where Anthony wasn't doing much, but here, that was a very big dredge. He found 2 Narcomoebas. Marc has done nothing. He has played and ticked up an Aether Vial to 1. So at this point, I'm really favoring Anthony.
Yeah, this is where like Aether Vial feels very underwhelming in general because he doesn't have like a ton of ways to like draw more card advantage right now, and it's like Aether Vial is kind of just whatever, you know. It's just like an extra card sitting there, you know.
Right. So this game really turned around quickly. Marc had about 2 draw steps where he needed to find some action, and he just did not. So I think we're going to see this game wrap up here pretty quickly.
Again, this is what I'm talking about for some of you guys, the local guys. Anthony is he knows how to take down these tournaments here. Might not have always.
He can't play KCI.
Might not always have the best plays, but he's a winner, that's for sure.
He was very good at luck sacking, I will say.
I don't think you guys answered my question about Arclight, Phoenix, and Modern. It said, oh, sorry about that, Evo Juggernaut.
Arclight Phoenix in Standard is very viable as long as you don't want to win like a big event. It's a very good FNM card. It's not going to be good enough to take to competitive RELs, though.
I kind of disagree. I actually think that card is a little bit underrated right now, and I think we're going to see people start to show why that card is so powerful. Initially, when it came out, people just felt like it was hard to get the trigger to bring it back to the battlefield. We still haven't cracked Standard yet. You know, I think there's still enough time here, and the card is very good. I think.
I just personally, I think that you're putting in too much effort for a 3/2 Flying Haste.
So here we see Anthony swinging out pretty much with the house.
Yeah. This game's pretty much done here. That's why we're talking about Standard. He's got a bunch of dorks. This is what the deck's trying to do. He just went a very roundabout way of doing it. You know, pardon me. There are games this deck is capable of where they can turn 1, get something into the yard, and turn 2, they'll dredge 5 and bring back a Narcomoeba and 3 prized amalgams, and suddenly you're looking at 10 power.
Going to see a couple of chump blocks here from Marc.
Yep.
Not really sure exactly what he's hoping to restabilize with because he's so far behind right now, and he's only got 2 cards in hand. Let's take a look at his sideboard here again. Not a whole ton here that's going to bring him back in.
What sleeper cards do you guys think Guild's brought to Standard? So that's a good question. I was talking to a buddy of mine about this. Sleeper cards.
Well, Salt's Cubed says
I'll think on that one. I'll get back to you,
radio
Sir Tail.
announcer too. Thanks for streaming. Yeah, dude. Everybody that's here tonight, we want to thank you guys again.
Yeah,
this is our first night of doing commentary here, and
he's clearly talking to me.
Yeah, this is our first night doing commentary up here, and hopefully it just keeps getting better every week. Again, we have 2 tech people here helping us as well. We have Andrew and Dan, and they pretty much are putting in all the hard work here.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, but yeah, it seems to be getting. Seems like we did a pretty good first week so far, and hopefully, like next week, if we have anything that we need to improve on, we're gonna keep it up. So we see Marc here holding a Phantasmal Image. Again, this is the card earlier I was saying it can copy any card on the battlefield. However, if it does get targeted, it has to sacrifice to itself. Not sure exactly what he's copying.
Yeah,
but that's it. And so Anthony Shaw takes it down for the night, 4-0. Our winner of Sunday Night Modern Game Storm.
Congratulations to Anthony.
Like I said, yeah, Anthony, he surprises us all the time with he just takes down all these events. But